Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you, 10:30, looking live over our gorgeous Charm City on this Sunday, October 15th. I'm Taylor Stewart, and let's talk about your forecast, because if you haven't stepped outside yet, please do. Wyatt Everhart with a look at what this Sunday has for us.
Lots of sunshine, wall to wall, right? This is the way we like it, especially after all day kind of on and off rain on Saturday. Sunshine widespread this morning, but it is a cool scenario out there, only in the mid-50s in most spots and slow to get above 60 today on a northwesterly wind that's coming in behind that area of low pressure that brought the rain yesterday. It's now offshore, but we did pick up about a third to half an inch of rain out of that system, and we could use the rain. That was good. Northwest wind today picking up 14, gusting 20, 25, breezy. So the real feel numbers, the wind chill factor, down to 50s today. But the air temps do get to close to 60 as we see some sunshine throughout the day. A chilly night on the way tonight, and we'll talk about just how long the dry weather holds coming up in just a couple more minutes.
This morning, the conflict in the Middle East continues to escalate, with Israel saying it's preparing for the next stages of this war. Military leaders say that next stage could include even more airstrikes and heavy ground operations. We're taking you to a live look at Ashdod here at the bottom left, and then Tel Aviv at the right, and Gaza in the top, where people are now spending their fourth day in a row without electricity. This was after the Strip's only power station ran out of fuel on Wednesday. The Israeli military says it's prepared, quote, a coordinated offensive in the Gaza Strip involving air, ground, and naval forces. This follows swift evacuation orders from Israel, telling their people to leave the region ahead of that ground offensive attack. It's not quite clear when that offensive is set to begin, but so far we know the death toll has already begun to rise as the conflict escalates. We're seeing more than 2,300 civilians who've been killed in Gaza, while Israel is reporting more than 1,300 deaths. This new video emerged of a large explosion along an evacuation route for civilians in the southern part of Gaza. Right now, it's not clear exactly what caused that widespread devastation, but Palestinian medical services and civil defense crews say they were targeted by an Israeli attack at the site of a rescue operation in northern Gaza. It comes as several healthcare facilities say they cannot comply with the order to leave the area, saying they just don't have the means to evacuate that many patients. In Lebanon, hundreds of people gathered there to remember the lives of Reuters videographer Issam Abdallah. He was killed in an attack near the Lebanese-Israeli border, where dozens of journalists and Lebanese lawmakers have been to attend his service. And hundreds of people headed to the Israel Defense Ministry in Tel Aviv. This is to demand the release of their own relatives who they say were abducted by Hamas. They're asking authorities there to prioritize getting their loved ones back home.
My family is in Gaza, being held by Hamas. I feel like I have no help and salvage from anyone. And this is my cry out to the world to please help bring my family, my wife and 3 kids.
My heart is broken because, again, I say, this Leary, it's one of them 200 kidnapped. So I'm sure that they have another 200 family with us in the same situation, very bad situation, that you cannot do nothing. And we have another 1,300 people that cannot come back.
Stick with Fox 45 News as we continue to follow this fast developing situation in Israel. We're going to bring you those latest updates here on air and online at foxbaltimore.com. Switching gears now, turning to coverage in Carroll County, where a delegate there is vowing to get tougher on drug dealers. They're pushing for harsher penalties and deals that result in death. This morning, we're hearing from a family who knows firsthand the pain of losing a loved one to an overdose. They say accountability is necessary for closure. Maxine Stryker has the latest.
At just 18 years old,
just everything about her I miss.
Victoria Garofalo's life came to an end.
She was my best friend, the girl. And, the only thing I got now is a memorial in my yard and an urn upstairs in my room.
For her parents, Joe and Christy, it's been an excruciating year without her.
I'm the one that found her, and that's an image that I'll never forget, never get rid of. And I hope that this kid pays for what he has done.
It was last May Victoria died of an overdose. The drugs were found to have been laced with fentanyl, according to the Carroll County State's attorney.
I know she didn't do this to herself.
In Maryland last year, there were 2,586 deadly overdoses, and fentanyl was involved in nearly 80% of them. In Pennsylvania, lawmakers are looking to enact harsher penalties on drug dealers. Senate Bill 235 would impose a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years and a fine for selling drugs that result in death.
If the penalties ain't that severe, they don't have any fear, and they'll just continue on deal.
Maryland State Delegate Chris Tomlinson says he plans to introduce similar legislation this January. In a statement, he said in part, "For years now, opioids and fentanyl have been devastating our communities, and we need to crack down on the scumbags who are selling these drugs that result in the death of our loved ones." Adding the state's attorney's office was unable to charge the dealer in the death of Victoria with manslaughter due to existing case law.
I can't see my daughter on any holiday. I can't kiss her goodnight, no more, nothing. But potentially the person or the people that do this, they have their whole life.
Victoria's parents say they plan to support the bill, hoping it could bring other families the closure they need.
She wanted to help people, and her life got taken away, and she had no idea it was coming.
Now, officials in Carroll County and across the state really are calling on lawmakers to make some changes to the state's juvenile justice laws. We've heard from more than a dozen top prosecutors who voiced this concern. Keep in mind here, they represent around 5.4 million people, about 87% of the state's population. Now, this past week, the Carroll County State's Attorney joined in on those calls as prosecutors say their hands are tied.
Seeing like a revolving door, the same juvenile offenders over and over again, coming in the door and then going back out the door to continue to engage in their nefarious activities. There's not a whole lot we can do about it because we're hamstrung by the laws that are in place.
You can protect the child and also protect society. If we deter that communication, we inhibit our ability to address crime.
If we don't do something to hold these young people accountable, they will continue to run and almost have lawlessness in our cities. And we can't have that.
Next month, lawmakers are set to hold a hearing on juvenile crime with two particular laws at issue here. The Juvenile Justice Reform Act limits children 13 and under from facing most charges, and the Child Interrogation Act, which prevents police from questioning juvenile suspects without an attorney and a parent's permission. All right, do not get egged this Halloween season. Still ahead, how you can call reinforcement from the M&M Rescue Squad. Let's make sure every candy bucket gets full, you guys.
All right, got to protect those M&Ms. Low pressure now offshore. That sets the stage for some sunshine on this Sunday, but also much cooler air marching into Maryland. We'll talk about how long the chill lasts straight ahead on Fox 45 Morning News.
All right, the leaves on the trees are changing, and that means only one thing. Flu season is here. So to help residents stay healthy this year, the Baltimore County Department of Health hosted its annual Super Saturday Flu Clinic. The county opening up clinics at 7 different locations to give free flu shots to anyone who stopped by. And if needles weren't your thing, the Baltimore County Animal Services Cuddle Shuttle made a stop at one location. It was for anyone who needed an extra support system from a furry friend. If you're a fan of the Netflix show Squid Games, here's your chance to attempt an actual obstacle course. You're in luck. Netflix is soon going to be opening locations that allow fans to fully immerse themselves in their favorite Netflix show. The company's vice president of consumer products made the announcement, saying they plan to launch physical locations called Netflix House, which will have merchandise, food, and experience themes around its content. Netflix has not announced where those permanent locations will be, but they are reportedly expected to open in the U.S. by 2025. M&M's wants to make sure everyone gets their candy buckets full this Halloween season, and the chocolate company is launching its Halloween Rescue Squad. They'll bring you free M&M's to anyone who runs out of candy for trick-or-treaters before the night's over. The company is partnering with the instant commerce platform GoPuff to deliver to people who make requests on the Halloween Rescue Squad website. This has to happen, though, after 3 p.m. on Halloween Day, and it's until supplies run out. But don't forget this, it's not only Halloween for the adults and the kids, it's Halloween for your furry friends. And Walmart says food-themed pet costumes are the most popular this year. Okay. A lot of customers are reaching for the pizza costume, dragon, pigs. Those are also really popular. Walmart's Vibrant Life pet costumes cost about $10. And in case your pet does not like to wear a costume, you can get a themed toy or treat instead. It wasn't seen in most of Maryland, but it will make a return, but not close to now. The next time you can see the ring of fire in the sky. The Ravens flock is seen in London this morning going against the Titans, still ahead. Why a win this morning could hugely benefit our team. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Continuing coverage this morning, the search continues for a man police say is armed and dangerous. They say 18-year-old Jovan Williams is one of 2 suspects who shot 5 people at Morgan State University. A 17-year-old was also arrested in connection with the mass shooting. Neither of these suspects have any connection to the school. In light of Friday's arrest, though, Fox 45 News is pressing the mayor for answers on the youth crime crisis. It comes as many families at Morgan State University are questioning whether Baltimore is a safe place to send their kids to school. Fox 45 News questioned the mayor during a community walk in North Baltimore on Friday. He tried to reassure families that the city is making progress in its fight against crime. He also called for the rebuilding of the entire juvenile justice system, but did not give specifics. Well, if you missed yesterday's solar eclipse, that is okay. You can start booking your trips for the next one. It just happens to be in 2046 in Northern California or the Oregon area where it would be most visible in the U.S. This was the scene yesterday. They call this the Ring of Fire because it looks like a circle of light, and it's created when the moon is right in front of the sun. It wasn't seen in most of Maryland except some folks in Prince George's County who got to see a partial eclipse. If you're curious what it looked like in New Mexico, which did have the best visibility this time, NASA streamed this whole thing for you on YouTube. All right, meteorologist Wyatt Everhart, did you get a chance to see the eclipse yet on YouTube or anything?
I haven't seen it. I just think, it was quite a few years back when we had that really good solar eclipse right here in Baltimore, and you had to have the specialized glasses, everything. Just sunglasses today is all we need, Taylor.
Well, that's good. That's good for me.
Sunglasses and a jacket, okay? We need a windbreaker out there because it will be breezy today. 57 right now. BWI winds are northwest, 14 miles an hour, unlimited visibility, severe clear, you could call it, right? But that clear weather is courtesy of our low pressure area now well offshore on radar. You see the core of that system that brought us in many spots, a third to half an inch of rain. That is now off the coast of Cape Cod. And so we're in the dry weather scenario behind that system. But on a northwest flow, the gates to Canada are open. So we've got basically a nice crisp start this morning, very October-like. Mid-50s out there in many of the suburbs. And the wind's picking up now. Steady 14 to 19. I think we'll see some gusts well into the low 20s today. So a breezy scenario. Wind chill factor is a factor. Let's say that, because feeling like mid-50s now. Take a look out toward Deep Creek Lake, 35, what it feels like now in Oakland. So, yeah, October has arrived. Upper 50s to around 60 by 2 o'clock today, but brisk. A good day for that hot beverage if you're going to be outside for any length of time. I think mostly sunny most of the day. However, there is going to be some cloud cover that develops in the afternoon. We've got a bit of a flow off the Great Lakes, so that'll bring in some moisture at the upper levels, maybe some partly to mostly cloudy skies briefly this afternoon. But we clear things out tonight. And when you clear things out this time of year with the dry air in place, you're going to see temperatures dropping sharply, especially as the winds relent tonight. So chilly nights ahead starting with tonight. But then we've got a slow warm up into the latter part of the week. So a little bit of everything here in the extended forecast. Dry conditions for the next several days. Been a dry October around here, a dry fall. That pattern continues this week. Really no end in sight to it. Again, struggling up to 60 today. Never really feels that warm. Tomorrow, if anything, it'll feel quite a bit warmer after a colder start. So 39 in the morning in Baltimore. I don't think we'll really see much in the way of frost, but we're starting to get close to that time of year. And up to 60 tomorrow without the wind. I actually think it'll feel a little warmer tomorrow. You'll notice, though, that trend, that cool down does not hold that long. We see temperatures climbing back to just about 70 and maybe even above 70 on Thursday. So a bit of a midweek, late week warm up here. Next weather maker is due in to start next weekend. Some showers, temperatures dropping again. We don't like to time out the rain for the weekends, but that's just been the pattern the last couple of weeks. We'll have a final check of the weather coming up.
Welcome into your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. John Harbaugh is not one to dwell on the past, but the Ravens head coach has a great memory. So it's hard to forget what happened the last time he took a trip to London for his team to play a game, especially since it's been such a topic of conversation all week long. The 44-7 loss to the Jags back in 2017, it still sits on the mind of Ravens flock because it was one of the worst, if not the worst defeats in franchise history. A win over the Titans today would not only be the team's fourth of the season, but their first in London all time.
Right. It made me feel a lot better about the country. I can tell you that, Every time I see a picture of Great Britain on the map, I have that memory of that game, So that was a tough one for us. It was a few years ago. Obviously, it's a new team, but every game is important. These games are exciting. We enjoy coming out here and playing, but, for us, it's the next game, and every game matters. We play we play 17 games. And at the end, these games are going to be big in the standings. So it's a tough team we're playing. The Titans are very physical. We have a rivalry against them. We play them a lot. You know, we know them, they know us. So it would be very meaningful to get a win, and that's what we're going to try to do.
All right, so enough about the last trip to London. Let's talk about the team the Ravens are playing this time around. The Tennessee Titans, 2-3 on the year. The Titans ranked 28th in the league in passing yards and 26 in points for. That's not great, but despite where they rank or how little they've scored, the Ravens are expecting another physical game.
Physical team, and that's something we pride ourselves on as well, knowing they have a really good back. Henry's been doing it a really long time, and good quarterback in Tannehill, as well as D-Hop, been one of the best in the game for a while. So they definitely got some pieces over there, and it's just going to be about doing our job, stopping the run first and foremost, and what they definitely lean on all game long, and then eliminating D-Hop as well, because they definitely going to try to get him the ball. So it'll be a great match for us, a great challenge, so looking forward to it.
Check this out. One of the shortest injury reports of the season. Running back Keaton Mitchell has been ruled as questionable with a shoulder injury, while Odafe Owe has been ruled out. No injury designation for OBJ, Morgan Moses, Patrick McCary, Marlon Humphrey, Geno Stone, or Jadeveon Clowney. The Ravens face the Titans in London Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Rocky said it best. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Last week, Ohio State didn't necessarily punch Maryland in the mouth, but regardless, it resulted in the Terps' first loss of the season. So how would Michael Locksley's squad respond on homecoming weekend in College Park? That's a question. Maryland playing host to Illinois. Terps down 7 in the first. Talia Tagovailoa finds Sean Greeley. Greeley on the year, 2 receptions, 5 yards, 2 touchdowns. Havre de Grace stand up to the second, tied at 7. Tagovailoa dials up Caden Prather, 27 yards on the score. Terps take the lead. Fighting Illini would tie it at 14. Here they take the lead. Isaiah Williams from Luke Altmaier. Illinois back on top in this one. Time ticking down in the third. Terps down 10. Antoine Littleton punches it in from 4 yards out. That cuts it to 3. Terps tied it on a field goal with 1:31 to go. Illinois wins it as time expires. Caleb Griffin, good from 43 as the Terps drop their second straight, 27-24.
This thing starts and ends with me as the leader. I've got to have our team prepared to go play. We don't make excuses. We did not play to our standard, and it's frustrating to watch because I still have a lot of faith and belief in this team. And as I just told them, the adversity that we find ourselves in today, we put ourselves there. So the only people that can get us out of it is us.
Navy football looking to win 2 straight for the first. Go to the fourth. Mids back on O. This time they'll go to their bread and butter, the ground game. Alex Texa finds some space and turns on the burners. Nobody catching him. 62 yards to the crib as Navy beats Charlotte 14-0, the final score. Let's check out some other local scores. Johns Hopkins has been on an absolute tear. Blue Jays beat Franklin and Marshall 34-27 to move to 6-0 on the year. McDaniel drops its game with Dickinson 40-20, while Stevenson moves to 5-1 with a 42-6 win over Alvernia. That's your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Have a great Sunday.
What drastic temperatures coming in for your work week. Meteorologist Wyatt Everhart lets you know what to expect in his 7-day forecast. Stick with us here at Fox 45 Morning News.
about that?
I like it.
Huh?
I like it.
You know, cool, chill, but the sun always makes it feel a little warmer.
Yeah.
I just got to stay out of the wind a little bit today, I think.
We're going to see some wind, huh?
Yeah, breezy day in the 50s, and it's just going to kind of feel a little cooler than that, right? Because it's going to stay brisk. But the extended forecast, I mean, although we stay cool today and tomorrow, we start to warm up midweek. That'll be nice. Next chance for rain toward the start of next weekend, but overall, not a bad October outlook here at all.
I wish we had the weather we had today for the Baltimore Running Festival yesterday.
I know. Yeah, if we could have switched days, that would have been
But if
nice.
only you had a direct line to Mother Nature.
That's right. And the harder, you're running that long race, like the harder the battle, the sweeter the finish, that whole thing.
Exactly. Well, you know what? They had a lot of races to finish yesterday, so best of luck to you guys. Well, they're done now. Congratulations.
That's right. Congratulations. And they feel much drier by now.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us this Sunday. Have a great one.
See you next weekend.